All right. Welcome. Awesome. I love this topic. This was actually super fun. Usually when I do oils and cooking classes, it's about food recipes. And I'm excited to share this one with you guys because it was fun to put together the different desserts. And I've been testing some things that I don't eat myself, but my family's been trying them out this week. So I'll share a little bit of that with you also. And let's dive in, all right? Delicious desserts with Young Living Vitality oils. So to cover some of the basics first, which I think is important, we want to talk about using oils in food in general, all right? And there's a couple of questions that usually come to mind for most people. Only a few of them on this screen have question marks. Apparently, I didn't think it was important to put question marks on the last two. But why do it? Why add oils to your food to begin with? We're going to cover that real quick. Which oils are best to use in your food? How much, right? So that's a big question that people have is how much do you put in? How do you know how much to put in for, recipes that, because most of your recipes aren't going to call for oils, right? They're going to call for spices or citrus zest or something like that. So how do you know, right, the ratios? And then how and when to add them. All right, so let's go through these quickly so you have this information. The number one reason why you might want to add essential oils to your food is primarily the flavor. So when you add essential oils, they're going to give this incredible burst of flavor. Incredible burst of flavor. All right. And that's where when we get to the how much part, I'm going to help you with that because you don't need a lot. Right? You don't need to add a lot, but they're great for adding flavor to foods. They're also great substitutes for herbs that you might not have around. So you might be out of a certain herb. Like in fact, last week I was making something that called for marjoram. I didn't have fresh marjoram. I didn't have dried marjoram, but I had marjoram, right? So that vitality oil. So that's where it's kind of nice because there might be something like cardamom. I have cardamom essential oil, but I might not have the spice. So it's great if you have these vitality oils, that you can substitute them for the herbs. And the oils actually last longer. So if you keep them, out of light and out of heat, your vitality oils will last much, a long time. Whereas your herbs over time, some of you may know that some of your dried herbs, if you've had them around for a long time, they start to lose their potency, their flavor, their zestiness. Okay. And then for some recipes, and I'm going to explain that, your essential oils can offer health benefits. And the reason I say some recipes is if you put your oils in at the beginning and it's something that's going to be cooking for a while, cooking oils does reduce the health benefits, right? So it starts to denature them, it starts to change them molecularly. So you'll still get the flavor benefits, but you might not get the same health benefits. Some of those chemical constituents might get cooked off, right? But if you're adding them to cold foods, right? So if you're adding them to salad dressings, if you're adding them to guacamole or hummus or something that's not cooked, yogurt even, little lemon in your yogurt. Those are things that can, you're still going to get those health benefits from the oil. Okay. All right. So which oils should you use? Well, the awesome thing about Young Living is that they have a whole line of oils called the Vitality line. And those are the oils that are recommended and approved for use for ingestion, right? So for coming into the body through the mouth. So these are the oils that you'd want to use in your cooking. And as you can see on this screen, there are a whole bunch of them. There's over 50 vitality oils, all right? Almost any spice that you could imagine, even citrus, right? So there's lemon, there's lime, there's grapefruit, there's bergamot, there's all kinds of oils that you can use. So these are the ones you want to use. Why do you want to use the Young Living Vitality oils? Because they're pure, right? So Young Living oils in general are the purest out there. So you don't have to worry about having solvents or pesticides or fertilizers in your bottle of oils. But, these are the oils that are safe and approved for ingestion. You don't want to be using oils, like cheaper oils or oils that are manufactured improperly because those constituents in them, the solvents, the pesticides, the fertilizers, those are all going to get into your food as well. Okay. Now, the real deal is if you're a Young Living member already, then you know, hopefully, that the oils that are in, I wish I had a regular bottle of lime, this bottle of lime, okay, the Vitality lime, and a regular bottle of lime, it's actually the same oil, but because these can be used for ingestion, they had to have a separate label to denote that. So you can't have one bottle, according to the FDA, that's approved for both ingestion and topical use, right? So they had to have a separate bottle with the white label. Okay, but these are the Vitality oils, and as you can see on your screen, there are so many, right? So there's lemongrass, there's dill and basil, there's citrus fresh, there's celery seed, there's tangerine, there's peppermint, oregano, lime, lemon, grapefruit, spearmint, rosemary. So there's so many options here for cooking with oils, all right? But you don't want to just grab something from the drugstore or, you know, even online and start using that or taking that internally. These oils are safe. They're, you know, very carefully produced and distilled so that they are safe for ingestion. Okay, all right. Which ones you actually use are going to be determined a little bit more by your recipe or the foods that you're making, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Okay. All right, so let's talk about how much. So this is where I think I got nervous, right? When I've been using oils for about 14 years now, but when it came to putting the Vitality oils in food, I was like, for a long time, I was very hesitant because I was afraid that I was going to either ruin the dish, right, and waste the oils, right? Or that it just wasn't going to have any impact at all, you know, that it wasn't going to do what I needed it to do. So if I was trying to, you know, add citrus flavor to something because I didn't have lemon or I didn't have an actual orange and it didn't work, then that was going to be a flop, right? And by the same token, if I added too much, then, you know, I could have really overpowered a dish or just made it taste horrible. So here's the rule of thumb, okay? If you're dealing with a citrus Vitality, so something like lime or lemon or grapefruit, 1 drop of the oil is going to be the equivalent of 1 teaspoon of zest, okay? Now, the oil, so if you think about your essential oils, they're not going to replace the juice. So if your recipe requires, you know, a cup of lemon juice, you're still going to need that juice, right? So like if you're making a salad dressing, this isn't going to magically create a cup of lime juice to create your salad dressing, right? It's going to actually replace the zest, so that like super powerful flavor of lime, right? But it's not going to replace the juice. So just keep that in mind if you're making a recipe that needs juice in it. That's different than the flavor, right, of that fruit, of that citrus, all right? But 1 drop is equal to 1 teaspoon of zest, okay? For your herbaceous oils, so these are things like oregano, basil, thyme, marjoram, rosemary, you know, there's sort of those very herby kind of oils. Those you want to go really, really slow. And so what we actually recommend is that you take a toothpick. I don't have a toothpick here, but you take a toothpick and you stick it into that opening in the orifice. Okay, you just dip the toothpick in, and then you're going to stir that toothpick into whatever you're making. So in the case of like a tomato sauce, you'll dip it in the oregano or the basil, and then just stir the toothpick into your tomato sauce, and then taste it. Okay, and then you can do it again and again. But the herbaceous oils are really strong and really potent. So sometimes 1 drop can be too much. All right, so you want to be careful with that and go slow. All right, so the toothpick method is what's recommended for the herbaceous oils. For your minty oils, so spearmint, peppermint, 1 drop is the equivalent of 1 teaspoon of the dried leaves. Okay, so if you were going to be using dried peppermint or dried spearmint, it would be 1 teaspoon that 1 drop would take the place of. Okay. Or if you were using the fresh leaves, it would be the equivalent of a tablespoon fresh. Okay, so those dried leaves are going to give you more potency. So same thing, 1 drop will either be a teaspoon dried or a tablespoon of fresh mint leaves. Okay, cinnamon's another one. So cinnamon bark vitality, I use that all the time. That one, a little goes a long way. All right, so 1 drop of that oil is the equivalent to 1 to 2 tablespoons of the ground spice. Okay, so if you're, you know, doing a banana bread, or I don't know what else you make with, I make a lot of other things. I add cinnamon bark to a lot of other things, but I can't think of them right now. But just realize 1 drop is the equivalent to 1 to 2 tablespoons ground, all right, of the spice. Oh, I know, I add it to my butternut squash soup. Okay, how and when should you add your oils to your dishes? Okay, so we talked about the toothpick method. That's one way that you can add them. Another way that you can add them is to actually drop them onto a spoon. So the reason you want to do that is because, as you probably know, when you turn your bottle over, unless you know where that little tiny hole is, right? So this is something I actually learned just a few years ago. So the oil doesn't actually come out of that big center hole, okay? There's a tiny, tiny little pinhole in the outer, in that outer rim of the orifice protector, right? And so that's where the oil actually comes out of. So unless you find that exact tiny little hole, which without my glasses on, I can't even see it, your oils can come out quickly, right? So you might get several drops at once. So that's why they recommend use a spoon, drop it into the spoon so that you can sort of, you know, be more careful about how much you're putting into your recipe. Okay. The other thing that some people will do is they'll use, just for their vitality oils, a dropper, right? So if you keep these in your kitchen, I'm wondering if I have one of the little dropper thingies in here. But you can use a little, you know, dropper top to make sure you're just putting in 1 or 2 drops. All right, so that's another way that you can do that. The when to add them, you really want to add them towards the end of cooking for the reason I stated earlier, which is that you don't want to cook off all the benefits, right? So towards the end of your cooking time, add them in. Or if you have something that you're not cooking, or something that has to set, so like if it's something that you have to put in the fridge to like set, you're not going to serve it for a few hours, then you can add it an hour or 2 before. And it's something like, you know, if you're doing something like a hummus or a guacamole, you can add it an hour or 2 before you're going to serve it, because you can stir that up, right? You can add the oils in and stir that up. So that's the rule of thumb, either towards the end of cooking, or for items that you can stir or that set, you can add it 1 to 2 hours before serving. Okay, and just some examples. So these are some regular food examples, not desserts. I use oils in all the things that you see here. So lime, I probably use, I use a lot of lime, a lot of lime essential oil. The first time that I used it was actually in salsa. I was making salsa, and I literally did not have any lime. I had no limes in the house. I had lemon, but I was like, I really like the way lime makes the salsa taste. So I said, I'm just going to try it. And I put like 2 drops of the lime essential oil. And I will never, ever make salsa with fresh limes again. I love fresh limes, but the taste of the salsa with this lime was unbelievable. So that was the first thing that I did. Now I put it in hummus. I put it in guacamole. I add it to smoothies. I actually made a black bean soup yesterday, and it had, I added some black pepper essential oil to it. And then at the end I said, it needs something, it needs a little zing. And so I added lime to the black bean soup, and it totally made it. Avocado toast. So I take sprouts or greens, microgreens, and I make a little dressing. It's just olive oil, lemon juice, lime, and a little bit of sea salt. And I put my sprouts or microgreens in that, and that goes over my avocado toast, and it gives it, again, a nice zingy, tangy flavor. Salad dressings, you can add lime or mint to fruit salads, smoothies, any kind of dip. So a bean dip, that black bean soup could have easily been a black bean dip, right? So these are just some of the things that I do regularly with my vitality oils. And smoothies, so many different things, right? So my husband does a chocolate smoothie in the morning, a mocha flavored smoothie, and he likes to add peppermint to that. And that's because he says it tastes like a peppermint patty. I like to add cinnamon bark, sometimes nutmeg, because I do a vanilla, right? If I make a pumpkin smoothie, then I'm going to add cinnamon, ginger, cinnamon bark vitality, ginger vitality, maybe a drop of clove. Clove's really strong, so you got to go light with the clove. But those are some of the ways that you can add them into smoothies. Okay. All right. So let me just see. I think we might have a question. Yes, lime is amazing. I could use that probably every day in something that I'm eating. All right, who's ready for dessert? Are we ready for dessert? All right, so let's look at some of the recipes. Some of these actually came from just people online that either have essential oil cookbooks, which I'll mention one of those in just a minute. Some of them came from this book, so you may have gotten this. And actually, if you get the monthly, well, if you get a monthly order from Young Living, then every order has the Essential Edge newsletter in it. And there are often recipes. In fact, I think there's always a recipe for something in there. So keep an eye on those because all those recipes include essential oils. So some of them are from there, some of them are from this dessert book, and some of them I just got online. All right. And if you are looking for a particular thing that we don't cover tonight, I'm sure that you can find it online. I'm sure that somebody has made it using vitality oils. Right. So these are cranberry walnut cookies. Right. And what I'll do is at the end, if you just put in the chat, or you could do it now, any of the recipes that you see that you want, I'm happy to send these to you. Okay, so just let me know which ones you like. You might want to wait till we get through them all to decide, but I'll be happy to send them to you. Okay, so this one has, it's 25 to 30 drops of cinnamon bark vitality. So that's the #1 essential oil that's in this one, right? Cranberry walnut cookie. So if you're a cranberry walnut cookie person, cinnamon bark vitality is the oil that you're going to want to have. I'm not going to go through all the details of how to make it, right? If you want to make these, you can just ask me for the recipe and I'll send it to you. But I just want you to know which oil or oils you're going to need. So if you say, oh, I really want to make that for the holiday or for, you know, something coming up or just because, you'll know which oils you're going to need. Okay. Peachy Keen cobbler. So this looked really yummy to me. This one actually has 25 to 30 drops, also cinnamon bark vitality. So again, that's one that I do use a lot, and it's one that you're going to see in a lot of baking things. So it's going to be in pumpkin pies and the pumpkin pie smoothies and things like that. Apple pies also will use cinnamon bark vitality. But this, in addition to the cinnamon bark, has 25 drops of lemon vitality. All right, so if you just think about those two flavors together, the cinnamon bark and the lemon, and I think you know like how amazingly vibrant lemon essential oil is. So just imagine that combined with your Peachy Keen cobbler. I haven't made this one yet, but I'm looking forward to making it for my kiddos because I think they're gonna love it. I actually just got the peaches today. So this one looks to me really super yummy. And yes, the ice cream definitely helps, I think. So that's really simple, you know, simple instructions for how to make it. This one is a super favorite. A lot of people actually make this at their essential oil classes. So next time we have a real live in-person class that's not over Zoom, maybe we'll make these for you guys. But the gluten-free peppermint brownies. This is the easy method. So you can make your brownies from scratch and do the same thing. This one actually is using a gluten-free boxed brownie mix. So, and then you're just adding 3 drops of peppermint essential oil. So remember, peppermint's one of the ones that's going to be really powerful, really strong. So 3 drops in your entire recipe is going to do just fine. It's going to be plenty. Okay. You probably don't want to, you know, experiment, try it with the 3, see how you like it. And if you really love peppermint and you want to add more in your next batch, then you can do that. All right. But this is the super easy method, really popular. People love these brownies. I don't think I've ever had a peppermint brownie. I love brownies, but I don't think I've ever had a peppermint one. So, but people love these and talk about them all the time. Okay. Pumpkin pie. So I mentioned pumpkin pie, and yes, it has the cinnamon vitality in it. This one also has some nutmeg vitality, some clove, and some ginger. Okay, just a little bit of each of those. As you see, 1 drop of nutmeg, 1 drop of clove, and 1 drop of ginger vitality. All right, ginger vitality, by the way, a lot of people will use for digestion. So it's strong, you know, it's not something that you're going to want to necessarily put right on your tongue. I know people that'll add it to tea. I know people that will put it in veggie capsules and take it that way. So if you do get kind of that indigestion, or you know that you need a little digestive support, that can be a beneficial one for that reason also. All right. But there's your pumpkin pie. This one, you know, you can decide on the crust. So whether it's going to be homemade or prepared crust, the recipe here really just gives you how to make the pumpkin pie itself, and including your oils in that. Okay, this one is for all the sensitive people like me. So it's gluten-free, dairy-free, and paleo. And it's a key lime pie cheesecake. So this one, it gives you the recipe for the crust, okay? And then it also gives you that filling recipe, which I thought was pretty cool. I use raw cashews, which I've been to a lot of raw food restaurants, and they do make a lot of their cheesy dishes and desserts with cashews. But this one also has, oh, I'm trying to see, did I cut off? I must have cut off the oils. I did. Well, let's be assured it absolutely has lime in it. Okay, without a doubt. That's probably the main, if not the only essential oil that's in there. But I listed down here, and I think that's why, because it was a really long list. So the full instructions, I'm happy to send. If you're somebody that really loves key lime pie and you want to make this one, just let me know. Put that in the chat and I'll send you, okay, this link so you can get the full recipe and all the details. All right. Okay, what's next? So this one is a dairy-free chocolate mint ice cream. Does that sound good to anybody? Does anybody want that one? This one includes your 4 drops of peppermint essential oil, and it gives you an option, right, if you don't have the peppermint essential oil, but that's what's going to give it a really powerful zing. And frankly, like, I don't have peppermint extract around. I'm much more likely to have my peppermint oil than I am likely to have peppermint extract. So that's another one of those cases where you might go to make a recipe like this and realize, oh no, how do I make this taste like peppermint? And your peppermint vitality is the answer. All right. So again, if you want this one, let me know and I'll send you the full details on the recipe. This is made with coconut milk. So it's a dairy-free ice cream. And you know, it's kind of a healthier version because it uses raw honey or maple syrup instead of sugar. So if you're looking for, you know, a healthier option. And by the way, the green to give it that mint coloring is spinach. So you actually use full-fat coconut milk and spinach blended together, and that's what gives it that light green minty color. So don't worry, it doesn't taste like spinach. All the other ingredients cover that up. All right. Blueberry lemon energy bites. So these I have made, and these are great. So some people wouldn't say this is a dessert. To me, this would be a dessert, but they're also great snacks, right? So they're great for lunch boxes. They're great for just an after dinner, a little bit of something, okay? And these can contain a decent amount of protein. So you can actually add, these have almonds and flax seeds in them, but you could add some other ingredients in there if you wanted to get a little bit more protein. You could even add a little bit of protein powder, and then you might just need a little extra honey, all right, to kind of compensate for that. But I haven't made them with the dried blueberries. I've made them with other dried fruits. So I actually just got some dried blueberries today at Trader Joe's to try them with the dried blueberries. But these are great, really great for, you know, just a little bit of something sweet, and you know, and they're fun to make too. So again, this one's going to use lemon essential oil, which will be in that full link right at the bottom. That's the that's what's going to give it that zing. 2 to 3 drops of lemon essential oil. Okay, so these I had to share, even though it's really breakfast and not dessert. But to me, this looks like dessert. So when I saw this recipe, I said, I don't care. I'm sharing this because, you know, in my opinion, breakfast food can cover as dessert anytime. Waffles, pancakes, blintzes, crepes, I think all of those can be desserts as well. So this one, I'm trying to see where the, yeah, 2 to 3 drops of lemon essential oil in these as well. All right, so they're raspberry ricotta pancakes. I haven't made these yet, but I have put lemon essential oil in pancake batter before. I've also put cinnamon. So cinnamon, again, really strong, so just 1 drop in a whole batch of batter. But the lemon, I've made the lemon blueberry pancakes. So that drop of lemon or a couple of drops of lemon essential oil, it just wakes up that pancake batter, and you get that little bit of lemon with the blueberries. That was absolutely delicious. So I'm sure this is awesome as well. All right, so you'll just need lemon essential oil for this one, lemon vitality. Okay, and this one is, again, another one that's not necessarily a dessert, but I'll tell you a story about this. So actually, I got this recipe from my friend Lisa, and we were actually at a conference where we had to bring our lunch, right? We each brought our own lunches. It was bag lunch, and we were sitting down to eat our lunch, and she pulled out this, okay? She had her lunch, and then this was her snack, and it was apples with this almond butter dip. And so when we were driving home from the conference, I'm holding the bowl, you know, like a Tupperware bowl with the rest of her almond butter dip. And I don't remember what happened, but it fell. It spilled all over her car, which then smelled like almond butter dip for months. But it's a really easy recipe, and it's sweet. It's really yummy. And again, it's great as a dessert, and it's also great as a snack. So either way, it's just almond butter, coconut oil, maple syrup. Now I added cinnamon bark vitality, right? So you can also, usually this typical recipe would have cinnamon, ground cinnamon. I used two drops of cinnamon bark vitality. And then, of course, I had to try it with my lime because I put lime in everything. And I have to tell you, that's my new favorite, adding the lime. So you could make it, if you're not a big fan of lime, you could make it without the lime and just have the cinnamon bark vitality. But maybe just try a little bit with the lime, because it just adds that zing. It's like that flavor sensation. All right, and so this is a super easy recipe. You just basically are melting your coconut oil and your almond butter together, your maple syrup, and then when you take that off the stove, you drop in your oils, let it cool a little bit, and it's ready to go. Okay. Okay. All right, I think that's everything. All right, so if you want any of those recipes, put that in the chat and I'll write them down. And then let me know if you have any questions. I just want to see if there's anything I forgot. Oh yeah, there are a couple of things I forgot. So number 1, when you're cooking with essential oils, avoid using plastic. All right, you want to use mixing bowls that are glass or stainless steel, because your oils can actually degrade or deteriorate plastic. So you don't want to be constantly exposing your plastic bowls to essential oils. You also want to keep your oils away from heat. All right, that's really important. So if you're using vitality oils regularly, just keep them, you know, not right next to the stove, not even right over like the dishwasher, right? Like my counter, you know, above my dishwasher heats up a little bit when the dishwasher's running. So think about, you know, where you can keep them that they're not going to be exposed to heat, okay? And then always make sure you recap your bottles, right? So I don't know what kind of cook you are or dessert maker you are, but a lot of times when I'm cooking, everything's open until I'm done, right? So I might have, you know, a jar of coconut oil and it's open. And I have, you know, my baking soda, my baking powder, and they're open. And I'm taking the ingredients. And unlike my husband, who's incredibly organized and OCD, I leave everything out until I'm done. So with your oils, if it's going to take you, you know, 30 minutes or more to make a recipe, put your oils in whenever it's supposed to go in, but close it right up. All right. You don't want your bottles to be sitting open, you know, indefinitely and letting your oils evaporate. Okay. So make sure you recap those bottles. Okay, let me just see if there's anything else that I forgot. I think that's it. Oh, I wanted to tell you a couple of other things. No, I think I covered it all. Oh, banana bread was another thing I made recently. I added cinnamon bark, ginger, nutmeg, and lemon essential oil. And okay, I think that's everything. So questions. Anybody have questions or recipes that you would like to share? So if you've made something with your vitality oils, tell us about it. You can type it in the chat or you can unmute your line. I think Kara might have a recipe. Kara, did you have a recipe you were going to share?
Yeah, sorry. I like to add the orange oil to fruit dip. That's delicious.
That's awesome.
And another thing I really like to do is add cinnamon to apple crisp. Cinnamon and nutmeg.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes, indeed. What else did I just see too? There was, oh, I might have mentioned it. Even just something as simple as adding a drop of lemon to your yogurt. So if you're a yogurt eater, whether it's plain yogurt or really any other yogurt, just adding a drop of lemon essential oil can like add a whole bunch of zing to, so there's simple things like that that we can do. And I know you've made the lavender lemonade. We made that at your house.
Yes, that's delicious too.
Yep. Yummy, yum. Okay. Thanks for sharing, Kara. Anybody else have anything they want to share, or anybody want any of those recipes? Or was this helpful? Like, did you feel like it was helpful just to kind of get a little bit of info on how to use your oils in different things?
Yeah, it was really helpful. I have a question.
Sure.
So you're not supposed to heat these oils, is it?
Well, so ideally, to get health benefits out of them, you don't want to heat your oils. But if you're using them just for the flavor, if you're like, you know what, I'm eating ice cream or I'm eating, you know, cobbler, peach cobbler, I don't expect or don't intend to get health benefits from it, but I want it to taste really good, then that's fine, right? It's just having that understanding that if you're adding the oils because you want to get the health benefits from the oils, then add it to the cold foods, okay? Or just recognize adding it and cooking it in foods for a long period of time, you're not going to get those health benefits anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because, you know, I can understand putting it at the end, but when you heat leftovers or like if you're baking,
right,
then I guess
exactly,
it'll be gone. You know, the benefit of the oil will be gone.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. And so that's again where, and I think if you're doing a mix, right? So if you're using oils in your salad dressings and you're using oils in your hummus and you're adding it to your fruit dips and things like that, you're going to be getting those oils in. So it's okay if you've added some oregano to your tomato sauce and it's cooked through, right? That's okay. I just don't want to misrepresent it and have people think that adding it to cooked foods is just like taking the oil as a supplement. You know, it's very different. All right. Any other questions? Quiet, quiet, quiet. All right. So let me know if you want any of the recipes. I'm happy to share them. And what I actually might do is actually just share one of these each day for the next few days in our group in Living Free Naturally. So if you're not in there, make sure you get in there. And that way, if you don't want to be bothered telling me which ones you want, I'll be happy to share them in there and you can pull them down as you feel or see fit. Okay. And if this is a topic that you want to learn more about, oh, I did want to show you one other thing, which is there's some great cookbooks. Oh, let's see if I have it here. If you go to Life Science Publishing, I had some that I was going to show you on the screen, but I can't get to them now. Life Science Publishing has, and there are a few other sources too, but even if you just Google Cooking with Essential Oils or Essential Oils in Cooking. Life Science Publishing or lsp.org had quite a few cookbooks using essential oils. So that's a place to go if you want to see other things. The Young Living blog. So the Lavender Life is the Young Living blog. And if you go on there, there's a whole recipe section, so you can see a bunch of different things in there as well. I know they had a lot of drinks. They had like the lavender lemonade was on there. They also had like mojitos that you could make with lime, and you know, just so many different things that you can make with your oils. So check those resources out too for other recipes and ideas, and just start thinking as you're making something, could I add an oil to this? Right? And start playing. Like, don't be afraid to play. Just remember those ratios, right? Remember that your citrus oils are pretty safe. Usually you can add 2 to 3 drops and it's not gonna, you know, it's gonna be fine. When you're getting into those herbaceous oils like the oregano, like the thyme, you know, those are the ones that you wanna be more careful with. Okay, and then things like cinnamon bark, just go slow, just 1 drop at a time. And your mint oils, I would just go 1 drop at a time. All right, but just play, right? Let yourself play a little bit with different things you're already making and think, how could I add an oil to this? Or what would a little bit of lime do in here? Or what would a little bit of cinnamon do in here? All right, a lot of people do it with their coffee. So a lot of people will put a drop of black pepper because black pepper is very invigorating. So it'll actually help, you know, with that energy boost. They'll put black pepper or clove or cinnamon bark in their coffee. Same thing with tea. A lot of people put thieves or copaiba in their tea, right? So those are things that you can do as well. Granted, again, if you're heating the oil, you're not going to get as many benefits from it. But that's where, you know, if you're doing it more for flavor, then you don't have to worry about that quite as much. Okay. All right. Well, I hope this was helpful for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And if anything else, I hope it made you hungry, so you go eat your dinner now. And again, if you want any of those recipes, keep an eye out on the group. I'll post them in there. But if you also want them sooner than that, let me know, and I'll be happy to send them to you. And if you got this book, go grab it, dig it out. It was a freebie. I can't remember when it went out, but it went out with orders, and it has all different desserts in here and beautiful pictures and detailed recipes. All right. Okay, have a great night, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.